Hello everyone. Once again I welcome you in my YouTube channel NCRT Social Science with Indrajit, right? And what we are going to do today, we are going to study Stone Age. This is the fourth chapter you can see here. Early humans, early humans and beginning of civilization. This is the second part. First part already I have uploaded. So don't go anywhere. In this topic, in today's video, we'll study what is essential to study about the human history. It is very essential to know about the history of the past, of the human evolution. What was their eating habits? Where did they live? What type of things they used for their survival? What and how the biological changes took place? How the physical change took place? And how there was change? What type of change? How the civilization changed from with the passage of time. Each and everything we are going to discuss, right, in this chapter. So let's see what is there in today's video. In today's video, we are going to talk about why should we study early human history. The study of early human history helps us understand the long process of humankind's biological and cultural evolution in relation to changes in climate environment. Because of the change in the climate, because of the change in the environment, there was biological and cultural change. There was biological and cultural evolution. And people, they assimilated themselves with the changing environment. They adapted with the environment. How they adapted, we are going to study. Biological evolution refers to the gradual physical and genetic changes. Whenever we talk about biological changes, no, it leads to physical and genetic changes. And because of the physical and genetic changes, you can see the difference in the human beings. Thousands and thousands of years, how they were, and in present time, you can compare how it happened because of the biological change. It leads to physical change, mental change, genetic change, everything, through which our early ancestors known as australopithecines or australopithecus, also somewhere you will see it is written, they were our early ancestors. Australis means southern and Pithecus means primates, right? Evolved into modern human beings called Homo sapiens. So, Australopithecus, right? And they were the early ancestors. Who were they? They were early ancestors. Early, at most of the places you will see Australopithecus, it is written, right? Early ancestors. And they changed to Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. Somewhere you will see it is written Homo sapiens sapiens like this. And who are they? They are called modern human beings, right? Okay. So Australopithecus, the earliest ancestors, okay, earliest ancestors, and modern human beings we call Homo sapiens. Cultural evolution explains how humans adapted to their surrounding during the Quaternary period. Cultural evolution. We have talked about biological changes. Now we are going to talk about the cultural evolution. How cultural evolution took place and how humans adapted to their surrounding during the Quaternary period. Quaternary period means the last 26 lakhs years, including the present. It's a very long time, last 26 lakhs years, right? To survive the changing climatic, see here, to survive the changing climatic environmental conditions, humans developed tools. It was very tough task for them. It was very tough task for them to sustain in that environment. But human is human being, right? Even the animals know how to adapt with the environment, how to get themselves adapted to the environment. Here you will see that human also they cope with the environmental conditions, and how they did that by developing different types of tools, techniques, and other forms of technology. And how, from where they made it with the use of the natural resources, whatever the resources they found at that time. What type of resources? Stones, then uh, plants and trees, right? All these things, they made use of those things. Over time, human ways of life changed from hunting to gathering. First, in the beginning, all these people, the early humans, they were hunters. First, they used to hunt animals. Then, slowly, gradually, what happened? They changed to hunter gatherers. First, they hunted the animals, then started gathering the things. It may be flowers, roots, fruits, animals, all these things. They started growing crops. They learned how to grow crops. Accidentally, it happened. But from hunter to gatherer, this was the transformation. Over time, human ways of life changed from hunting and gathering to agriculture and then to food production. The ability to produce surplus food and material goods laid the foundation of the emergence of civilization. In the beginning, as I told you, they were hunters. They used to hunt animals and they divided the meat or the flesh among all the people, right? Then slowly, what happened? They became gatherers. They started collecting fruits, leaves, roots, and accidentally they saw that how the crops are growing. They started eating it, and when they find it suitable, they started growing the crops. And crops, it need water, right? So to do cultivation, they started settling down near the sources of water, and this led to the emergence of civilization. Now they started to settle at a single place, at that very place they started to form the communities, right, which we call tribal communities nowadays. Okay, it is generally agreed that our earliest ancestors evolved and lived in Africa and began to move out of the continent around 2 million years ago. Our early ancestors, they were living in Africa, right? And they began to move out of the continent around 2 million years ago. Homo erectus. Homo erectus. Erect means straight. So it means there was a change. There was a change. People started, these early human beings, they started moving on their foot. See here. Homo erectus. Homo erectus refers to an upright or bipedal human ancestors. Okay, those who started to move on their foot. So Homo erectus, an early human ancestor with stone tools such as hand axes and cleavers, was the first hominin to exist in Africa. Okay, Homo erectus were the first who started to walk on their two legs, and they started making use of stone tools. They started making use of hand axes and cleavers made of stones. Was the first hominin to exist in Africa. So this may be the question: who were the early human sisters? Okay, who used stone tools such as hand axes and cleavers? Right? The answer will be Homo erectus. Now, these tools these tools have been found in other parts of Africa and Europe. it indicating their origin in Africa and their dispersion beyond the continent between 2 and 0.5 million years ago. So these hand axes stone tools, they're found in Africa and Europe also. It means these early ancestors were found in Africa. It's a clear sign. It was a clear sign. Another major wave of movement out of Africa took place around 1,25,000 years ago. Another movement, okay, another movement out of Africa. It means when these early ancestors, human ancestors, they move out of Africa, it took place around 1,25,000 years ago. This exit was associated with the early humans, Homo sapiens, we call modern humans, who also evolved in Africa around 3 lakhs years ago, right? And are now spread all over the earth. The Homo sapiens, okay, who evolved in Africa, what happened? They also evolved in Africa and around 3 lakhs years ago, and they started all over the earth. And that's why you will see that modern humans, the change of Homo erectus to Homo sapiens. Now, since it is spread around 3 lakh years ago to different parts of the earth, and that's why you will see the evolution of human beings is not confined at one place, it is spread in different parts of the world. How do we know about our ancestors? From where do we get the information? The archaeologists, they plays a great role in arranging all the things in sequence. They try to create answers, they try to solve the questions about different types of tools, stone tools or whatsoever, what type of pots or artifact was used, and who were the early human beings or the ancestors. All these things, the credit goes to archaeologists to create a story, to find out the answer, that how the early human beings were living on this earth. See here, archaeologists explore early human sites to uncover clues such as tools, bones, and other objects left behind by our early ancestors, which clue helps them build a picture of how people lived long ago.